The 1967 Doctor Who story The Macra Terror is not well represented in the archives. Not only are all 4 episodes missing, but the surviving clips are brief and the quality is variable. And while we have a full set of telesnaps for all 4 episodes, there are only a handful of production photos and there isn't even a wealth of behind-the-scenes paperwork. One of the artefacts we do have is a rehearsal script for episode 1. This was owned by actor Ian Fairbairn, who played Questa in this episode, and has kindly been donated to help make this video. This script is what the actors would have used when they went into rehearsals. During a week of rehearsals ahead of recording, the cast and crew would continue to work on the dialogue and action in the script. Now, while the scene structure of this episode is almost the same as the final product, there are some interesting variations between the rehearsal script and the broadcast episode. So let's take a look. The first thing to note is that both the rehearsal script and the camera script don't feature the shots of Medoc that we see in the telesnaps that open episode 1. The original plan was to run the caption over shots of the band and the drum majorettes. The rehearsal script describes this as the Happy Life Colony, and there is a small marching band with futuristic instruments that make sounds which are jazzy and gay. As well as the band and drum majorettes, there are girls dancing the Twist of the Future, with a note to contact the Gojos, a popular dance troupe of the time known for their performances on Top of the Pops. Ian Fairbairn's character Questa is in the crowd, and on the rehearsal script he has written in the margin, "With camera for end photo of majorette. Take out picture and show Ruth after band." Whether this action made it into the final episode is sadly a mystery. Questa sadly loses his only line in this scene. "I'd give them my vote, listen to that toot 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 like an old-fashioned flute." Medoc's escape through the colony and Ola's arrival is very close to what was broadcast, but the scene ends differently. The pilot's line after ordering Ola to go after Medoc, "He must not get away," was originally, "I will be responsible," before calling on the band to start playing again and for everyone to be happy. Later in the episode, after Medoc has been subdued by Ben and Jamie, Ola arrives, and unlike his televised counterpart, he joins in with the jolly colony speak. "We make it our happy duty to entertain travellers. Our saying is, a friendly hand in a foreign land." He also calls Polly my dear, while patting her avuncularly on the cheek, saying, "Everyone is important to us." A cut exchange between Ben and Polly means we lose their reaction to all the music being pumped through the colony. Sounds like a commercial. How corny can they get? Later, when the pilot suggests the travellers go to the refreshing department, Ben replies asking for half of the old mild and bitter. Jamie is less sure of the colony. They're a gay, queer sort of folk. The final part of the scene has been crossed out. Polly notices the band returning, and the dialogue suggests that she wants to get the Doctor inside before he spots them. But the Doctor is distracted, crouched on the ground. He notices that something has scratched away some of the soil before Ben and Polly pick him up and almost carry him away. What's curious about losing this moment is that in the broadcast episode, his later remark to Medoc about something crawling seems to come out of nowhere. Had this line been kept, these comments might seem a little bit more logical. The scenes of the Doctor and his friends being pampered in the refreshing department match closely to what was broadcast, along with the rough and tumble machine, with only small dialogue changes and the loss of a fairground mirror. The next scene features Ian Fairbairn as Questa again, so we are treated to some more handwritten notes. He has noted that in this scene, he is standing opposite Ola and Medoc. Additional dialogue here has Medoc saying it's his duty to warn people. His eventual line, "There's only one way to silence me, Ola," has been handwritten into the script. The second part of that line, "You should know that by now," has been crossed out. When Questa implores Medoc to get help, he originally remarked, "You'll be happy and gay again after arrest," but this has been crossed out, and the broadcast line has been written in the margin. At the end of this scene, when Ola asks Questa where the pilot is, his response is more definite, whereas in the broadcast episode, he's a little bit more clueless. Ola's last line in this scene is handwritten, and the original ending to this scene has been crossed out, Medoc realising that it's too late to warn the colony. A handwritten note again suggests that Questa is pushed at the end of the scene before turning to the camera. Scene 10 plays out differently in the rehearsal script. In the broadcast episode, Medoc is brought into the refreshing department and encounters the Doctor. They have a quick exchange before Ola puts Medoc in the cell. In the earlier version of the script, Medoc actively blames the Doctor for his predicament before declaring himself an outcast. Barney comes skipping into the scene and makes a snide remark at Medoc. "If you can't think of anything pleasant to say, don't say anything." After Medoc is shoved into his cell, Ola asks Barney if the pilot is in his office. They both leave, and Barney is again skipping. Scene 11 starts with more dialogue between the Doctor and Medoc in the cell. Once the Doctor enters, Medoc surly tells him to get out. To which the Doctor replies, "Why don't you say something like, 'Say hello to a stranger, it might make him happy'?" Medoc doesn't believe in this sort of rubbish. The colony is out of its mind. The Doctor asks why he should be different. "I don't listen to the voices," Medoc replies. "I see. You say the people of the colony listen to voices, and they say you see things." "Take your choice," Medoc responds. There seems to be a difference of opinion in this happy colony. After this, the Doctor produces a knife to free Medoc, and the Doctor has to give Medoc some reassurance. "Did you think I was going to puncture you? Oh dear me, no. I don't believe in that sort of thing. I'm going to cut you free." Once the Doctor releases Medoc, there's a further exchange reinforcing the Doctor's desire to hear Medoc's side of the story. "I never listen to other people's opinions. I like to make up my own mind." Scene 14 in the rehearsal script is not present at all in the final episode. Ola is leading the Doctor and his friends through the colony. Polly and Ben realise that the colony reminds them of a holiday camp, which they then have to explain to Jamie, but they do so in a very mocking way. The Doctor reminds them of Medoc. "He's the square peg," Ben replies. The first scene in the Labour Centre has more cut dialogue about holiday camps. Polly notes the games, entertainment and music. Jamie has additional dialogue penciled in, and then crossed out, asking if this is what they mean by holiday camps, to which Alvis replies, "Our life is like holiday." After a voice announces the start of the next shift, 3 men come in, and in this version, they are singing. Once Questa has led them away, we get a curious remark from Alvis. "They are fine young men," which in the broadcast version of the episode is the much more straightforward, "We work very hard here." The end of this scene is later simplified, removing some of the more sinister undertones. After a gas accident, Alvis remarks, "It always happens, but we suffer it cheerfully. The work must be done." Polly loses a line where she remarks on the deaths in the mine. "People die all the time. Did you hear that, Doctor?" The next sequence with the Doctor and Medoc on the building site plays out very close to the final version, with one exception. We get a very different description of the Macra. The Doctor asks Medoc, "What are they like?" Medoc responds, "All right, if you want to know. But it's hard to say. They move at night, in the dark. They look like insects, like great slugs or squids pulling themselves along with long feelers flicking out ahead." Later, when the Doctor has rejoined his companions outside the refreshing department, as they are shown to their accommodation, a cut exchange has the Doctor ask if Ola will be coming inside to join them, to which the Chief of Security responds that he's going to lead the search for Medoc, and that when we've finished with him, he won't be able to run away again. The remainder of the episode plays out pretty much as we see and hear in the final product, again with only minor tweaks to the dialogue. The last thing to note from the rehearsal script is the final description of the Macra in the cliffhanger to the episode. For a moment, the moonlight touches on the object, and then the bushes obscure it again. But for a moment we have seen the repulsive shape of what looks like a huge humpback squid. Its white saucer-eyed face has turned once into the light, and it has a sickly, frightening, avaricious expression.